listen to them unless you think it's true. Follow your heart and your dreams. Follow your heart and your dreams.
All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Run Your Mouth podcast. We've got our new fine intro music there so that we can put out the beacon and all you live commenters can show on up. And today, we've got a special guest appearance by none other than Mr. Chris Vega. How you doing, buddy?
I'm great. This is going to be a fun show. I really am looking forward to shitting on all these morons at the DNC.
All right, well, then we can get right into it. But before we do, why don't we plug, if you're out there in the Maryland area, the Washington, D.C. area, this is the legendary original porch tour spot at Max's house with his private yard.
Yeah,
Chris,
the show that we're only doing because we want to go hang out with the guy whose house it is. Which means it will be a fun hang. Like, come to the show.
That is an accurate statement. That it's one of the few shows all year where you're like, I don't even really want to do the show. Can we just drink at the bar?
Yeah, he's got a bar in his house and a dartboard and a foosball table.
No, we do have that's all true, but we also have the Shedcast boys coming out doing a full concert. We've got a stacked comedy show. I've got all new material, and then I'm going to be doing a full live podcast on the Talmud, which, to tease it, can I tell you something insane that I read today in the Talmud, Mr. Chris?
Yeah, can I just sit in for it? I won't talk much. I'm very interested in old school Judaism. I really am.
At the end, I might take questions and comments at the end. I don't think that there's a way to have you that it's not going to get a little too derailed.
Okay.
Because this stuff is so strange. Mm-hmm. So this is going to come up with a live podcast, but I was reading through Dan Bilzerian's basically misquotes from the Talmud, and I was trying to look some. Has he gone
full anti-Semite?
I mean, I don't know enough about him or where he's at or what he's generally speaking at, but he certainly put out a list of quotes from the Talmud that make the document appear as if it's like just this massive anti-Jewish document.
Okay.
But one of the pages that I went and looked this up, this might be one of the funniest rules I've ever seen, is apparently if you're not Jewish, mm-hmm. you got to keep like the 7 laws, the Noahide laws, right?
Okay.
And so one of them, I guess included in these laws, is that you're not allowed to have anal sex with your wife, but you can have anal sex with somebody else's wife.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it's a decent rule.
Yeah. I don't want to, well, I mean, my general rule with my chick is we don't have anal sex in the house, but anytime we're in a hotel. So if you invite me to your wedding and I have to stay overnight, I'm probably blasting my chick in the ass.
There you go. And now, do you wait till the end of the trip so that if, I guess, there's a mishap, that's somebody else's problem?
Yeah, you're only there one night. You know what I mean?
Oh, so if it's one, but like if you're there 2 nights, you're not going to do that on night 1.
No. Just in case there's a mishap. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then you want it to be somebody else's problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that all checks out. I don't even think we need to do the episode. I feel like that's the best information anyone's going to get.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, me and my girl have been together a long time, and we've never had an issue.
Right.
But I feel like, do you know the comic book Challengers of the Unknown?
No.
So they almost die in a spaceship crash, and then they figure they're on borrowed time, so they've decided to use what's left of their life to investigate the strange and risk their lives because they're on borrowed time. That's how I feel about fucking my girl in the butt.
Listen, I'm all for hotel anal sex. No arguments here from me. All right, before I get into some of the clips that I isolated, any more macro thoughts just overall? I don't know how much you cared to watch the DNC. I didn't find it all that interesting or riveting, but any bigger takeaways before we get into specific clips?
Okay, I'm going to throw this out there. Everybody was saying shit about famous people at the RNC. There was a lot of hubbub and making fun of fucking kid. But like Little John came out, and now Little John has a Harvard education, but he is still known for making a song about coming on ladies' faces while they're so drunk.
Little John has a Harvard education?
I believe he has a Harvard degree.
He's sitting in class going, "What?"
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing. He's inquisitive, so
right.
He really did well.
There's no Little John went to Harvard?
I believe so. I mean, I could look it up for you if you want.
That's a crazy stat. I know the guitarist from Rage Against the Machine, I think, went to Harvard.
Oh,
Tom Morello. He's a smart guy, even though he's a socialist.
you mean New York Times columnist Tom Morello?
Oh, is he? I didn't know that was
Dude, the
his...
stuff he wrote for the Times during COVID, like
Oh
it's
yeah,
like
Barf City. You can't. It's funny for such a great band. They're almost difficult to listen to now with how like he's just one of those people that became a huge loser.
Well, I said this, I think I said this on High Society last night, or I may have just said it to Stanley. The main takeaway before we get into this, and I'm actually kind of curious what your thought is on this. Since Trump and COVID and like this whole thing, and maybe it's just because I'm from New York and I'm still around a lot of people like this. My main takeaway is that all these liberals, or 99% of them, that have been agreeing with me for years that every politician's a criminal and that criminal justice system needs reform. Like just the way they're throwing this felony thing around like it's an own. Like, as somebody who's been justice system involved multiple times in my life, I thought all these guys were on the side of criminality and rebellion.
Oh yeah, that's a great take.
Yeah, it turns out they were not.
Right, the DNC being the it used to be the Republicans were the hardliners on we need the police and we need to put criminals in jail. Yeah. That wasn't like that wasn't
even war and profiteering. Right. Occupy Wall Street was a leftist movement. Doesn't mean that they didn't have good sentiments. It was absolutely a leftist movement. And now all of those guys are like, Pfizer.
All right. So this was my first and biggest thought of the DNC was to me, it's not important. The fact that Bill Clinton can give a speech, I know that. The fact that Obama can give a speech, I know that. The question now is whether or not Kamala Harris can actually get through this campaign schedule and not come off as the idiot that she is. The same way I knew if you put Biden in front of the cameras enough time, he has dementia. The question now is over the next, 3 months, can Kamala Harris dodge interviews, do well enough in the debate that people don't realize how just absolutely stupid she is? So to me...
She did well at this event. Her speech was good. I don't like the joy thing.
Yeah, well, the joy thing, I said this on the last part of the problem. They ripped off the marketing from Dylan Mulvaney, who was selling her mental illness by going, oh, it's trans joy. And that was a marketing thing of just going, it's joy, it's joyful. It's like a lawyer trick of, are you going to get upset at me for the way that I'm enjoying myself, which somewhat excuses, it's like kink shaming. If you're doing something weird, you get to put it on other people. Oh, you're kink shaming me. So now you're shaming Kamala Harris for being joyous if you're calling out the fact that she laughs at her own stupidity.
Oh, I got you. That is a good trick, though. I didn't even think of it like that. I thought they were going with the hope worked for Obama. But here's the thing. People use the word hope. Nobody uses the word joy except in Christmas songs.
Well, I think I guess that's part of in excusing all the things that the Democrats have gotten wrong. The fact that we've got 2 wars going on at the moment that are both seemingly escalating. The fact that they didn't take care of the border, that there's inflation. They don't want you calling out their mistakes. So it's easy to go, hey, we're just trying to have a more positive attitude. Why do you got to bring all this darkness in of the things that we fucked up? So it's very easy for them to go, oh, we're just about joy and trying to make the place better. It's like, yeah, except you guys have made it worse. So I think what you're describing of the just, hey, let's go with the word joy and pretend like they're being the Debbie Downers, it's because they don't want people calling out what they've got them wrong.
Okay.
So in terms of just the general, hey, I'm totally uninterested in this, I guess at this point I know that Kamala Harris can give a speech if it's on a teleprompter. So now it's like I just want to get to the next stage, which honeymoon period's over. You're going to have to take some interviews. You're going to have to start fielding some questions. You're going to have to debate.
But interviews are all going to be softball interviews. She's not getting a hard interview. It's all going to be pre-taped. She's not doing live interviews.
The interview where she was asked, I'm sure you've seen the moment about Russia. Well, Russia's a big country and Ukraine's a little country. So her ability to come off like the absolute biggest idiot, even in favorable interviews, I don't think, obviously they're going to be easier for her than what they do to Trump. But I don't think, I think she's so dumb, she might have difficulty getting through softball interviews. And so now that's the next round in this fight that's actually interesting.
Well, I think until it gets, so it's the softball interviews for the next month. And then we got to get to town halls, even if she doesn't debate Trump.
Right.
And we might be back to the first ever presidential election since radio was invented, that the two major party candidates don't debate one another, because he debated Biden, but he's not the candidate.
Right.
So, like,
I'm guessing that the first debate will happen because they don't have any easy out. The Kamala doesn't have any easy out to not do it.
she already bailed.
No, she bailed on. Oh, maybe you've seen something I haven't seen.
No, the Fox News thing she bailed on.
Yeah. So she pulled a sneaky, where
Mm-hmm.
basically Biden and Trump had agreed to debates. Trump
Mm-hmm.
didn't agree to debates with Kamala. So when Biden bailed, he's like, "Listen,
Sorry.
Wow, that's you got boat noises." Trump tried to go, "Hey, listen, I never agreed to debate you, and I just took out your last opponent. So if we're going to debate again, why don't you agree to at least do one on Fox News, and I'll do two, which are in more favorable places for you?" And he was withholding committing to another debate until she agreed to do the Fox News one. Finally, amidst all the spectacular, hey, look at the arenas Kamala Harris is filling, why won't Donald Trump agree to debate her? He finally was like, all right, I'll keep that first debate. And then Kamala Harris said, fine, that was already agreed to. We'll see if Trump shows up, and I'll let you guys know about the other ones. She had never had any intention of doing the Fox News one. And then the second Trump committed to keeping the I think it's the ABC date, she basically said, yeah, we're not doing Fox.
Well, here's the thing. If I'm Trump, so you agree to this debate format that's not a regular debate format because of Joe Biden's mental state. And I would just say, if I'm Donald Trump, and he can't get a coherent thought out lately either, but like, you just go on TV and you say, I agreed to that because Biden was fucking dying and Alzheimer's out. So I said I would do it this because I was dealing with this mush-headed, senile old man. Unless you do not have a capacity higher than a mush-headed, senile old man to do a regular style debate, how it's always been done, just get on TV and say that over and over again if you're Donald Trump.
Right. Yeah. Well, at least when he agreed to this first one without getting the concession for Fox News, he wasn't winning the news game at that time, and he was looking like the weaker player that he didn't want to show up and debate her. So he finally he just said it on live TV. They were giving him a hard time. He's like, yeah, I'll do it. Fine, I'll do it. All right. My next takeaway from the DNC is there's not a lot of conversation about anything. It feels a lot like sitting through. When I was a kid and people had like these bat mitzvahs and you had to listen to some mom talk about how much they loved their kid until you could go dance to some stupid DJ. It feels like toast at a wedding. And the fact that an entire arena of people, I leave concerts I like early because I get bored. How are these people in a room for an entire day clapping their heads off like they're seeing the Rolling Stones in their prime as someone just goes, I'd like to say thank you. It's like the beginning of Oscar speeches when we drown people out as they start to go, I just want to thank my wife. I'd just like to say I like my family.
Speaking of it being like a corny Bob Mitzvah speech, did you see Doug do the Borat impression?
Oh, I missed
He came out and said, my wife.
My wife.
Like, dude, he won me over. I'll tell you that right now. I'm a fucking Doug fan now.
What, just because he's a giant cornball somehow?
Just because he's such a huge dork.
Yeah. What is the actual story there on how he managed to pull? I mean, I've seen the pictures of Kamala when she was out with Montel. Bit of a looker when she was sucking her way up to the top. She was
a babe doing fucking three-ways with fucking Montel Williams, who was handsome and stupid rich at the time. Like,
well, so apparently that video where it looks like Montel is literally like Prince of Egypt walking with his two wives. I think one of the two of them is his daughter, and the other one. I don't know if they were actually, or at least in front of the cameras. I don't think she was living the life of, hey, I'm one of Montel's two bitches.
Oh, okay. I misinterpreted that. I thought it was, but either way, he was at the time ridiculously rich. He's a good-looking dude. I mean, she was hot back then. Those pictures of her with Montel, she was like fucking peace.
There you go. All right, let's play my first clip. Before I do, let's take a moment and thank YoKratom.com, home of the $60 kilo. BK Chris is a fan. I like the Reds. They're a good time, and the only place on the internet you can get an entire kilo of Kratom for just $60. All right, First clip on the docket, and this one really annoyed me, that they've reduced. I mean, politics is already kind of a WWF phenomenon. And I was listening to Tony Hinchcliffe talk about on Rogan that he thought that, what's his name, Vince McMahon was actually a little bit behind Trump's first campaign, and that part of some of the reason that it worked was like the big entrances, and that it seemed as if it was actually produced, or at least with some input of Vince McMahon. And now it seems like the Democrats took it a step farther, where they're reducing people to these dumb characters of this is the coach. And now everything's got to be like a hokey line about how he's a coach. And it's like, the point I was trying to make online, if just being a coach is the greatest thing, and this is the thing that makes, so let's go get Bill Belichick. He's out of a job. If being a coach is the number one credential for being able to be a good president right now, why are we taking some assistant? He was never the whole coach, by the way. He was the assistant coach.
Tim Walz?
Tim Walz. For the entire day, they're up there going, and the coach. She's the prosecutor, and he's the coach. They're like WWF figures at this point, or WWE, where everything has to be tied into this new personality type. It's the manager. I'm the cop. I'm the this. I'm the military guy. It's like when they reduce you to the one character, and everything has to get built into that storyline.
Duke the Dumpster Drosy was a garbage man.
There you go.
The goon was a hockey goon.
Yes, that is the new thing of the Democratic Party. Kamala Harris is the prosecutor, and rocks, paper, scissors, shoot. Donald Trump loses to prosecutors. So this is the one person that can beat her because she knows how to prosecute. And we've got the coach. Everyone loves a coach. And now everything he has to say has to fit into this new storyline of being the coach. So with that introduction, let me play this clip. I'm going to pull.
It's the fourth quarter. It's the fourth quarter. We're down a field goal, but we're on offense and we've got the ball. We're driving down the field. And boy, do we have the right team. Kamala Harris is tough. Kamala Harris is experienced.
And with the Any Given Sunday speech,
they had signs.
What was that?
They had signs.
Oh, to the audience to applaud and stuff?
No, Coach Waltz.
This is literally, even when every person giving their speech, and we've got the coach, Kamala keeps referring to him as the coach, and then he goes up there, I'm sorry it was muted, and he goes, you all have to get into the trenches and do your blocking. And then he does the Any Given Sunday speech, inch by inch, phone call by phone call, down by down. And this is what we're reduced to. We're not going to have a conversation about anything to do with policy, but we will get to hear countless football analogies from the guy that was a assistant high school football coach.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. High school?
High school in, and by the way, not just high school in, whatever. I don't even know. It's not even like Texas.
If it's not Texas, yeah, I don't fucking give a shit. Like, if you're not Friday Night Lights, go fuck yourself, motherfucker. I want the win-loss record of that team now, too.
So what he claims is, as the assistant coach, is that in his first year, they were like, and didn't win a single game. And then from there, because they were able to rebuild with him as the assistant coach, not the actual coach who did any of the things, but they were able to rebuild the I don't know, whatever, the team, and then they went on to win a state championship without him even being there. Before I play my next clip, were you guys able to hear the sound at the end of that last one? Oh yeah, now
I heard it at the end. Yeah.
Okay, good. I figured it out. I just gotta mute you when I'm playing it and unmute it. All right, so my next clip is I'm gonna play Bill Clinton. Now I had said on Part of the Problem that I'd be curious to see if they can even roll out Bill Clinton, and if
he looks like a deflated balloon animal.
That's like a giraffe. Like someone made the giraffe, and
it's just like slowly losing air. That's what his skin looks like now.
Yeah, your kid was a little too excited to get the carnival balloon animal, and he brought it home and he put it up on the shelf, and it never popped, but it just is slowly seeping out. Yeah. Well, these kids don't have. I mean, now that they don't have the same access to kids like they did, they're all losing their edge. You know?
Oh yeah. They were getting that fucking sweet, fresh adrenochrome from Runaways.
Yeah, when you were able to go down to Epstein's Island and really rejuvenate yourself, these were different people.
Just tight 15-year-old pussy, and then fucking eating it, and then chewing on an adrenal gland for lunch. It really keeps you young.
Yeah. All right. So here, I thought that this was a Rich moment, and he's not the only one that do it. They all invoke God. But there's something particularly sleazy about. I mean, Trump does it as well. They all do it. But there's something a little bit wild about Bill Clinton invoking God, watching Hillary clap for him invoking God, and then him, once again, zero policy with what I guess is maybe a decent joke about the problem of Donald Trump, that he only cares about Donald Trump. Let me pull you down. I'll play the clip and we can respond.
Okay.
Let me say, not a single day goes by, even though I've been gone for well over 23 years from the White House, not a day goes by that I don't thank the Lord for the chance I had to serve and what it meant. And one of the reasons. Thank you. Wait. One of the reasons I love the job so much is that in the toughest times, even on the darkest days, if you tried hard enough, there was always something good you could do for somebody else. Now, some days that's not easy to do. You've got to deal with all these emergencies, or there's something going on here, there, or yonder, but Kamala Harris.
Or some days there's an intern in your office and you got a fresh thing of cigar tubes, and so you just can't get around to helping other people because there's other things top of mind. All right, so here I'll play the moment of him addressing Trump here.
Harris is the only candidate in this race who has the vision, the experience, the temperament, the will, and yes, the sheer joy to get something done.
I never thought I'd say I hate joy.
Yeah, it's like they make you come out against the concept of joy. Yeah. It's like the way the word gay used to mean happy at one point in time until they hijacked it into men engaging in effeminate acts of bitchy woman behavior. So you're saying that this is going to be, joy is coming next. Will it be a word that we can't even use unless we're using it to describe other people's, oh, you're being real joyful right now.
If people start using the word joy, I might kill my host. Also, I'm hearing myself double.
Oh, okay. It's because I gotta be careful in the muting. That's on me. All right, let me go back to play the end of this when he criticizes Trump.
I mean, look, what does her opponent do with his voice? He mostly talks about himself, right? So the next time you Hear him, don't count the lies. Count the eyes.
It's a platitude, but it's good.
My bad. This is a nightmare. I'm gonna have to figure out a different layout for the next time. Yeah. Well, if you thought that was good, just wait till he sticks the landing on this next one. Someone wrote this, and listen, it's not a good joke, but he makes it work for this crowd.
Count the eyes. His vendettas, his vengeance, his complaints, his conspiracies. He's like one of those tenors opening up before he walks out on stage, like I did, trying to get his lungs open by singing me, 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 me.
I gotta say, I don't hate it.
Listen, in terms of hokey, cheesy political speech, him and Obama are still better than the other guys out there trying to do this.
Oh yeah, that's 100% true. Well, one thing about that's one thing I'll say. Like it's always been, and so if you're like George Washington kind of believed that the president should just be a figurehead, right? And if the president's main job is to be a diplomat and a statesman, Trump is the worst president we've ever had. You know what I mean? Like it's like if that is the role of the president, he is the worst president because he just can't. Bill Clinton made a good point there. And like that's a big part of why Trump lost that second election is people were just sick of the entire country being about his behavior. And that is kind of a good thing to harp on for them.
All right, fair enough. I think him and Obama, it's kind of behind the scenes, they might have their little office where him and Obama are actually running the show, but we're not hearing about that. And we're not hearing about how they're still involved or what they'd actually like to see or wink, wink, nod, nod. The most important thing is that Saudi Arabia can still have their oil. You'd be like, oh, did you just give me a little insight here of that? You know what I mean? It's like they're not really giving any insight into what the real game is. So the fact that him and Obama can still get up there and do this job better than anyone else, it's not firstly, it's not entertaining enough that I actually want to sit down and watch it, and it's not new news.
It's no, certainly not. I'm just saying it's like there's just this weird thing where it's like some part of me just is like I don't want to deal with how like fucking annoyed everybody around me was for 4 years on
the temper tantrum. It's the temper tantrum, but it's I know what you're saying, but it's like I don't like living in a reality where we give in to the babies. And so since everyone freaked out so much over Trump, it wasn't so much Trump, it was this reaction to Trump, which was kind of just media generated of them freaking out all the time. And so, but I understand it. It kind of works in that the more casual followers of of politics, which even you we're tier up from education and interest in this than the average population. But for some people, they're literally like, just make it stop. I don't want to hear this anymore.
I mean, there's an aspect of me that's like that. I don't want to hear this shit at bar. The amount of stuff I talked about, I remember I had just read a long article about how China steals intellectual. This is before he launched the trade war, and something about China stealing intellectual property and the fact that all the IMF adjudicators were overrun. There wasn't enough of them to keep up with the amount of tariffs that are supposed to be on Chinese goods because they're subsidizing all of their industries. So when they're sending goods here, we're supposed to put tariffs on it legally. There's not enough. And I just said that when people were talking about it in a bar, and they were like, well, where did you read that? And I pulled out an article from The Economist on it, and they just stopped talking. They just wanted to, first of all, they were talking about hidden taxes. And I was like, do you understand who you sound like, what you sound like? You don't sound like Democrats when you talk about hidden taxes. And they just were like, people would just fucking turn off. It's crazy.
All right. Before I play the next clip, BK Chris, why don't you let people know where you're at, where they can find you, plug what you got.
Well, if you're listening to this, August 31st, I'll be in Buck County Motorsports driving in a demolition derby because comedy is not going well, Rob.
You get to live your lifelong dream. You've been talking about this for a long time, so
It's
I'm
going to be
excited
great
for you.
Yeah.
And what kind of car do you have for it?
A 1995 Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Do those do well, or do those tip kind of easily and get eliminated with one side swipe?
Hold on. Where's my phone? Sorry. No, they don't tip that easily, man. That car's been on the road for 30 years. I've been driving it around. You have to pull some wires to open the hood if it overheats.
Okay.
It is beat to shit, but it runs. I drove it for 4 hours the other day. I was doing donuts in a fucking in a gravel lot in a farm in New Jersey.
Okay.
I think I can do this. I think I can
Now,
win.
do you have a particular? I used to be very good at. I don't know if you ever played Gaga as a kid, which is no, it's like a camp game where essentially you take one of those good the dodgeballs that hurt, like the good old school red ones.
Oh yeah, okay.
And essentially you hit the ball with your hands, and if it hits your feet, you're out, right?
Okay.
And I was actually very good at that game, which was I had a good sneaky Jew trick, which was until the field cleans out, you want to avoid the ball as much as possible.
Okay.
Because if you're by the ball, it's just a higher percentage chance that your legs get hit. And so you might as well let everyone else fight over the thing until it thins out. And from what I've learned in sports, there's a lot to just positioning, time, and game flow of everything. So I'm curious if you've
By the way, this is the Jews' long game with oil in the Middle East. They're just letting everybody kill each other.
Yeah,
It's
just
taking
let
longer than they thought.
There you go. Yeah. Just make sure everyone else doesn't get along, and at some point you can just have their oil.
Yeah.
Do you have any particular strategy going into this to try and actually come out victorious, or are you just in it for the thrills of crashing your car into other people?
No, I was going to do exactly what you're saying and try to avoid everybody else until a bunch of cars are eliminated, and then my car's still in decent shape.
Yeah.
Just the same way you kind of do bumper cars. You pick your spots, right?
Right. Or you gotta try and make the survivor allegiances at the outset, where you're like, all right, so we're gonna go gang up on that Subaru over there, make sure that he's taken out. You need a little bit of that. You need to figure out what's the strongest car in the playing field and have some people gang up on them until they're out.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Maybe I should just go down there and start bribing people.
All right, and then last question, and maybe you can't answer this one on air. Are you allowed to do this with beers? Like if the event is,
No, you're not allowed to do this with beers. That's the thing I'm the most
that's
nervous
kind of
about.
funny because you would just think if I'm purposely crashing my car,
Yeah,
at that point, the whole reason of having the beers is that you don't want to go crash the car. But if the whole activity is I'm crashing my car, you should be allowed to have beers.
Oh, 100%. I agree with you. But they seem to frown upon being hammered drunk in a demolition
Do they do a
derby.
roadside sobriety test? Can you imagine getting a DUI at a
I think legally
demolition derby?
Technically the cops could give you a DUI if you drove drunk in a demolition derby. You're still driving a car. I don't think the law allows for drinking and driving on a racetrack.
Right. I think you should show up and make a character called Drunk Man. Have a cape, a beer helmet.
Maybe. I need to get a cape real quick. I still got to buy. I think I got to get a new helmet. I forgot my old helmet is a little fucked up from when I had a fucking bike.
Okay, last question on this topic, and then we'll get back to the news. It's not your style, but will you be showing up as a character? Like, have you considered going that route? Oh, okay. Listen,
This is all me, baby.
All right, listen. It's a slightly plug-heavy segment, but jumping on the show, we've got Robert from Sheath Underwear. You're on
What's
with
up, Rob?
myself and Chris Vega and
BK
Robert.
What's good, man?
What up?
We're breaking down the DNC, and I know that you didn't spend $5 million to be in a booth and bribe them, but you are celebrating your 10th year anniversary of the most comfortable underwear that's ever graced the balls of man.
I am. 10-year anniversary. We're going to be celebrating it in September from the 10th through the 20th. We'll be doing a site-wide 35% off. We'll be emailing everyone, notifying you, putting it on social media. We're doing this full-blown campaign. We started doing campaigns recently. I'm using my hands. We've never done, we've always just kind of as shit happens, we figure something out and do a promotion, but we're really getting more coordinated as a team as we grow. We're being more professional and shit.
Robert,
so.
Is the gray in your beard now, is that specifically dyed in this pattern, or do you just have naturally growing in this like incredible silverback, perfectly even look?
Thank you. It's all natural, baby. I just shave it and I don't really fuck with it too much.
Is that something like you set your intentions on every morning and it's just worked out, having perfectly even grays in the beard?
I visualize and then you achieve, you know.
Okay.
You gotta,
And
you gotta put it out there.
And what's the necklace? You seem to be on one of the more spiritual kicks at the moment. What do we got here?
This is us like Hindu beads. They're mala beads, and when you rub them, they have this texture that's really rough that is calming if you're nervous. And I'm actually about to go do a speech at a Toastmasters club, and I've been wearing them. It's actually 15 years old. I've been wearing it for like 15 years on and off, and nothing major, but it's quite calming. I recommend grabbing some if you get nervous in front of crowds.
There you go, for fidgeters. All right, so before I let you go, so tell us, 10 years in the game, I know the original model, it didn't even fit your wiener and you pretended like it worked, and now you've grown all the way to women's wear.
Yeah.
So not only what's the big celebration, what's the big goal for your number 10?
Your number 10 is to finish strong, finish better than last year. We're in a weird economy right now, so just not shrinking is important. And we are growing. You know, we signed a deal with the UFC. That's been monumental. It's like a pinnacle of our achievements as a company. And we're on the big stage with the big dogs like fucking Budweiser and Toyo and Monster and all those big brands. We're right there. This little ass company run by fucking me is with these huge, giant billion-dollar organizations, which I think is pretty cool. And right now they're doing the Contender Series. We're on that. There was some guy got caught like biting someone's arm. Actually, he was getting punched and it looked like he was biting him. But there's a cool shot of us in the bumper in the octagon. A lot of promotion through them. We got a couple more events scheduled for the rest of the year, and then we'll see how 2025 plays out. But we're just really coming together as a team. And
would you sponsor a demolition derby car?
Of course, that'd be awesome. That'd be
Well,
fun.
there you go. We might have just made that happen, Chris.
Right, it's next Saturday.
Let's close this deal right now. What do you need to make it happen?
Hit me up. Yeah. We'll send some logos over and make something happen.
Okay, yeah, I'll print some vinyls out.
I love it. That'd be fun.
It's been a lifelong dream of Chris's to compete in a demolition derby, and he's finally making it happen next weekend.
Yeah.
That would be so fun. We're looking at NASCARs, we're looking at Formula One, but I think a demolition derby is a good stepping stone.
If I win this, I'll drive the Formula One car. I don't care. I got my license at 35, but I can drive a car.
I'll tell you what would make for a great promotion. It won't be great for Chris, but it'd be great for the company.
If I die?
If his car gets crushed and he ends up a paraplegic, but his nuts are perfectly intact, and then we can take him on the road in a wheelchair and be like, because of Sheath, he still has a working penis.
And my nuts aren't chafing in the chair.
Yeah, everything else is mangled, crippled, and his life is sheer misery. But his penis and balls are still intact.
Ew. So you're going to be fine. The universe is going to protect you. I wish you good fortune on your job. Is it a race, or are you just like slamming into cars?
Just slamming into cars, dude.
Oh my God. That's going to be fun. What a rush. It's like bull riding, kind of.
Yeah. Well, we were talking to Dean Stanfield from Austin a while ago, and he did rodeo in high school, and he was like kind of being like, I was like, I always wanted to ride a bull. He's like, dude, you should do it. And then I was just like, at some point I mentioned that I was 40. He just goes, oh, you're 40? I didn't realize that. Don't ride a bull.
No. That's
Dean's,
so big.
Dean's a really funny comic, but also a dangerous individual if you're doing bar talk, because anything you've done, he's like, oh yeah, I do that. You can just come do it with me. And you're like, hey, let's go drift out in the woods and race our cars in it. He's like, oh yeah,
we shoot AKs in the air or something. Yeah, he's like
a
warlord.
That would be like that Twister, that video game, Twisted Metal. We got guns on the derby car. What did you call it?
Robert, I'm looking for a retweet I put out on my last episode that the only way that you'll be able to survive Kamala Harris's breadlines is if you have sheath underwear, because other people's balls are going to sweat so much they're going to leave the lines, and only you will make it to the end.
I will find.
I don't know if you saw that.
No, we're not doing that well on X. We need to be more, active. I'm gonna fire my guy.
Fair enough, Robert. It's a pleasure. Thanks as always for coming on, and I look forward to the 10th year of Sheath, and that hopefully this is the year of the Bobby Jet.
Sheath.com, promo code RYM saves 20%. Thank you for having me. Thank you, BK Chris. Hit me up, and we'll talk soon. Bye, everyone.
All right. Awesome.
All right, later. All right, hey man, that might have worked out.
Making
All right,
deals. I'm learning from Robbie the Fire.
there you go.
That's what happens when you start hanging out with Rob. You start making deals at all times.
I wasn't even bringing Robert on to pitch him anything, but we got the pitch in there. All right, so this was after Bill Clinton spoke at the DNC. I was surprised that they had him, that they rolled him out. I thought that maybe there was enough bad Epstein publicity that he is no longer an asset for them. And I was wrong, because they rolled him out. He gave a speech, went great. Everyone applauded. But here was, even on CNN, they said something similar to me, so I'm going to roll this. Whoops. There we go.
In Western Kentucky, when I was growing up out there, my dad and all the other guys like my dad, blue-collar guys, they love Bill Clinton. All Clinton guys. And now my dad and every single one of them that I know, all Donald Trump guys. And when I see him come out here tonight and I think about the audience in this convention, I think the Democratic Party did once have a bunch of people who Bill Clinton would appeal to. I think they're gone. I think the people who, the blue-collar labor piece of the Democratic Party that propelled Bill Clinton in the 90s has completely and totally migrated over to Donald Trump. And so I wonder about the younger audience and how they view somebody like Bill Clinton today, because he's not a blue-collar hero to them. They know a lot of other things about him that, frankly, make me wonder how in the world he still makes these kinds of stages, to be honest. Bill Clinton makes...
Wow.
Shocking on CNN, right?
Oh, yeah. That was fucking insane. I can't believe these. And also, very true. And here's what this all leads to. Blue-collar Joes like dudes who grab them by the pussy. That's all. That is it. They just like fucking pussy hounds. And that's who they're going to vote for. And you know what? Makes sense. Typically, the guy who's a pussy hound is also very good at sports and can lift heavy things on a job site.
Makes sense. It's just it's bar talk. It's bar talk, and this guy's getting laid. He's cool. I like him.
Yeah, I fuck with him. I mean, I think fucking just Obama playing basketball and smoking cigarettes made people like him a lot more too. You know what I mean? It's the same kind of thing. But nothing trumps getting pussy for dudes.
And disguising your man wife from the American public. I mean, that's you have a weird sexual interest and you're able to disguise it so that you don't have to come off as gay and you get to be gay. What's more manly than that?
I'm not getting into the Michelle Obama's trans thing. I hate it.
Okay.
It bugs me so much.
Since I've heard that and I find it hilarious, I actually can't see Obama as gay. And now I look at his mannerisms while he's talking and I'm like, I think he's gay.
So funny.
I can't unsee it. Oh, on that, because I did say this on the last part of the problem, but it was paywall, so it's not to as large of an audience. But last week, Dave was spatting a little bit with what's his name?
James Lindsay?
No, James Lindsay was a week before, and the name was just at the top of my tongue, and then you said James Lindsay. I can't remember. The young kid who's the white nationalist.
Oh, Fuentes?
Fuentes.
Yeah, I saw
Every
some of
time
that.
Fuentes' name comes up, I go, who, the gay Mexican? And now I don't know that he's gay or Mexican. I've heard that he's Mexican. The last name Fuentes is Mexican. And he just talks gay. And I just think it's funny. It's like the Dave Chappelle sketch where he's the black guy who's the head of the KKK. It's just funny to me.
He's
that
a gay
this
Mexican
guy,
white nationalist.
Yes, that this guy who comes off like a beta male gay guy who's also a Mexican is talking to the whites of America about the greatness of white blood. I don't know that he uses this actual language. I never listened to his show, but this is...
Well, his white blood cell count isn't doing well because of
Yeah.
all the AIDS from being a gay man.
Yeah. So anyways, I have to stop with this joke. And I love this joke because literally every time his name came up, I just go, you mean the gay Mexican? You mean, oh wait, that gay Mexican guy? I just kept saying it. And then in the comments of the last part of the problem where Dave was talking about Fuentes, everyone in the chat was going, Fuentes kind of sounds like Rob.
Oh, damn. I would still keep calling him a gay Mexican.
Yeah?
So,
You
yeah,
think
because
it's
they're
still-
just, I don't think you sound like that guy at all.
All
I
right,
think they're
fair
fucking
enough.
with you, and you're letting the comments win. You can't change your content.
There you go. Don't
can't
change
change
your
the content.
Don't
Yeah.
change your content from the comments. Fair enough. All right.
Nick Fuentes is a gay Mexican.
Let's play this clip, and I think you're going to have particular insight into this. But we've got Oprah, who Ozempic has worked rather well for Oprah.
Yeah, she's looking all right.
Doesn't look bad. Doesn't look bad. All right, let's play this Oprah clip.
We're going to be teaching our daughters and sons about how this child of an Indian mother and a Jamaican father, two idealistic, energetic immigrants, how this child grew up to become the 47th president of the United States.
The Oprah thing is the same as the Obama thing. I know that she can give a good speech. It doesn't matter.
They found
And now-
every dreadlock in that crowd as soon as she said the word Jamaican. They were eyeing. They were like, she's going to say Jamaican right after she says Indian. But here's the thing: black Jamaicans don't fuck with Indians.
Okay, so
They call them coolies. That's their slur for Indians in the West Indies.
Okay, so this is fascinating to me, and I knew that you were going to have some insight into this. I was wondering if maybe Oprah messed up because she's trying to pretend to be a African American or a black lady, and she sometimes puts on the black speak and the black accent, gets all preachery, and then Donald Trump called her out for being a Jamaican Indian, and that's on her birth certificate, and she's not in fact black.
Well, she's not African American. And Don Lemon, there's a clip of Don Lemon saying that from the primary last time. And then there's that clip. Did you see the clip from CNN on the black barbershop?
Yes, yeah, and then instantly they had to basically cut it short and go, well, we've talked to reasonable black people, not those...
On the radio where you can't see them.
Yeah,
that's what he said.
Not those black people who are uninformed, but we've spoken to the reasonable ones, and they all identify that Kamala Harris is in fact black, which I guess at that point we're using the word black incorrectly, because then I guess we actually should be using African American to say... Because we're no longer describing, like, race. You're now describing, I guess, the cultural experience of being a
ethnically African American. African American is a different thing than African. And, like, look, man, I've delved into how much black people around the world hate African Americans, and they have, like, words for them. Dude, I can't really remember it now, but somehow I, like, found this thread of, like, people in, like, Kenyans and, like, Nigerians, like, on, like, Tumblr. I found this thread, and it was just them hating. They're like black American, like they sound like the way white nationalists sound when they talk about black people, like ruining the country. Like instead of ruining the country, just like ruining our good name. Like it's fucking wild.
Right. You know, that's like I was once having an argument with a Haitian lady where I think I'd said that she was a black, and she's like, I'm not black, I'm Haitian.
She cursed you balder, and then you went bald after eating a pie.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's hilarious. And she's like, I'm not Haitian. I mean, I'm not black. I'm Haitian. And I'm like, black's just a word for skin color. Like you're turning it into something else, which I guess is what you're saying is that they actually want to be separated from the category of African Americans.
Well, I mean, if you call a Dominican that is very clearly a black person black, they flip out in Washington Heights. They will fucking lose it. They're like, I'm Dominican, I'm not black. I'm like, dude, I'm looking at you. You're a fucking black person. Like,
so if you want to Alex Jones this, I guess you could, or Fox News it. It's are island residents racist against African Americans?
It's not even fucking close. Like their kids aren't, but like African immigrants and like West Indian immigrants fucking look down on the black people that are here. And I've just
Right.
seen it enough in my life to know that it's true. Like there was and look, black people from here shit on Africans. I mean, I remember I got some credits in this school, Pacific High School, at the end of my senior year. And it was me and 297 black kids. It was like 3 white people and fucking the rest was, and like there was one African kid named Peter, and I got no shit for being white, and they would click at this boy. Like they would click at him and be like, Peter, you have tiger in your house? This is your pet tiger? And they would do that shit to him fucking all day. And I asked him about it. And he goes, I think I give a fuck what these idiots think. They only put me here because I just moved here from Africa. That's why I'm in this school getting some credits. He's like, I'm going to college. Like none of these people are going. And like he was just shitting on them.
There's a comic who said to me, I'd asked, and he said Kamala Harris is a black Jamaican. I'm sorry, an Indian Jamaican.
Mm-hmm.
No one hates black people more than they do.
And the black West Indians, I'm telling you, like, I was in the car with Paperface's mom once, and she was talking about she used to get worried because he used to hang out with this little coolie boy, which is what they call Indians from the West Indies, and he was worried he was going to get into an accident. And fucking Pape goes, he had a license before me. And she goes, coolies can't drive. He's like, but he had a license before I did. That's why I used to go places with him. And she just went, but could he drive good? And he was like, no, he couldn't.
All right, I got a couple more clips. And by the way, if you gotta get out and go to work, you just let me know.
Okay.
But the
no,
next
I'm good to go for a few more minutes.
Okay, the next clip that I have is Pete Buttigieg, and what's really almost catastrophic, I would think, for Pete Buttigieg and Pete Buttigieg's career, is that they gave him the title of travel secretary or something along those lines.
Department of Transportation.
Department of Transportation. And he gets up there day one and he goes, we're going to fix the airports for you. And aside from the border, which most of us don't see in action, is there anything that we've seen get like progressively, other than I guess inflation, what else could you say more Americans are upset with more? Like if you had to pull Americans.
Well, we're close to it because we fly so often as fucking comics. But I think the average American just fly. I mean, look, I've said it for years. It's crazy that if you are a guy who gets one vacation a year, you book a trip to, let's say, Aruba, right? You have to go. You have to be treated. You don't have pre-check. You don't have clear. You fly once a year. So you have to be treated like cattle, a criminal, and a piece of human garbage before you get to cram into a tube where they don't even give you snacks anymore to fly to a fucking place and you're paying extra for a pillow, headphones, whatever you need on this fucking plane, which they all used to give you for free. And then you fly to a place. You have to go through customs when you get there. That sucks. And then you have to do then you're on vacation. You're finally relaxing after that ordeal. And then before you have to go back to your job that you fucking hate, you got to do that all again.
Yeah, and you're the face of this.
Yeah.
And so amidst basically being the failure that you would think you would try and not possibly put in front of the cameras because you're
4 years.
Yeah, you're a noteworthy failure in a category that everyone can see the way that you failed.
Was it under Biden that that thing came out where they compared how much we pay for Amtrak essentially pays, which is a government organization, pays for miles of track that is for shitty, slow-moving trains compared to France. I think we pay 4 times more for our shitty old trains to run tracks than France pays for high-speed rail per mile.
Well, there you go. That's the unions that everyone loves. Everyone, you got to protect those union jobs.
Well, it was under Obama that you found out that they lost $4 per $8 microwavable cheeseburger on Amtrak as well. That was, I think, that came out under Obama.
That's pretty great. All right, so here he is. He gets his speaking spot. I'm sure he's still an administration favorite as a smooth-talking gay guy. It's what they need. And so here you have him just spitting absolute nonsense on stage as a noteworthy failure of this administration for the last 4 years, saying absolutely nothing. But, we can listen to him say nothing for a couple minutes. I got to figure out how to hotkey some of these mutants. All right, here we go.
And the message is that they are doubling down on negativity and grievance. Committing to a concept of campaigning best summed up in one word, darkness. Darkness is what they are selling. The thing is, I just don't believe that America today is in the market for darkness. I believe America is ready for a better kind of politics. Yes, politics at its worst can be ugly, crushing, demeaning, but it doesn't have to be.
I'll pause it there. We really don't need to listen to any more of that. But it's essentially what I was saying earlier of, hey, can you not mention our mistakes? It's a little bit dark when you tell people about how the country's gotten worse. They don't need to hear you telling them about the things we've messed up.
It really is just, I mean, at least the clips you've picked are just like, they're again just harping on rhetoric and not policy. Just the way they're talking about the way Donald Trump talks, not what he did, because they know he had some solid policies. There weren't two forever wars that were more expensive than Afghanistan going on. Like, there, you know what I mean? Like,
right? It's don't.
Everybody has everybody has a China policy now, which they should have had before, but he made them all have to have one. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has an opinion. Every politician all of a sudden had never said anything about China because the fucking money train was fucking rolling. And then fucking all of a sudden Donald Trump's talking about it and everybody goes, huh, that makes sense. And then they all go, well, we've been talking about China this whole time. What are you talking about? Like and it's not just,
right.
It's Mitch McConnell too. Like it's every fucking politician. And like, it's keep talking about the way he talks. People like the way he talks, you fucking idiots. Like those blue collar guys that they were talking about, that's what they like about Trump. That he's calling all these sissies, essentially. Like, that's why they like him, because they've been mad at you their entire lives. Those guys are the actual guys who have been mad at politicians their entire lives because they bust their fucking hump, get a check, and go, what is this even for? Like, what did you take this money for? Like, what did you do with it? My life is not different. I bought this house and I owe money to the bank. I bought this car and you're paying me to drive on these roads that I paid. Like, I have to pay a toll to drive on these roads that I paid you for, apparently, because you took the money from me without asking. Like, and it's just like, those guys are mad at all of you, and Donald Trump makes you mad. That's why they liked fucking Clinton, because he made fucking neocons mad. He made them furious. That's why people liked Obama, because he made Hillary Clinton. That's another thing, is like, they rigged 3 primaries post-Obama. How much do the Democrats hate black people? That after that, they had to, any outsider candidate, they rigged 3 straight primaries because Barack Obama came out of nowhere and sunned Hillary Clinton.
I agree with everything you said. Chris, I cannot let you go until I play these next 2 clips.
Okay.
The first one is of Walz's son. Have you seen this yet?
I have not seen his son. I have seen, this is a question for you, Kamala Harris's non-binary stepdaughter. Smash or pass?
Oh, all right. Wait. I have pictures here. We can discuss this as well. I've got to move this over. And I'll pull it up because here's the problem with, okay, hold on. Let me just pull this up for 1 second. Look at this picture. Okay.
Yeah. That's her on the right, right?
That's her on the left.
On the left.
That's her.
See, that's the thing with these non-binaries. They fucking go back and forth. You can't tell.
And then that's her kind of more now. Okay.
Okay.
So here's the problem. At the moment, she looks like if Bubbles from
Trailer Park Boys?
The Trailer Park Boys was going through a sex change. Mm-hmm. And she's bushed up her eyebrows. Mm-hmm. She has these green lizard eyes, and she looks quite manly.
This is not what I asked you. I said smash or pass, Rob.
Well, if you catch her when she's dolled up and she's actually wants to look like a lady, I mean, this is
So you're saying smash, because I agree, smash.
Yes. I mean, over here, I don't think so. Over here, please.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of depends.
Well, I mean, look,
on which version of her is being rolled out.
Look, that's a lot of ladies out there, boss.
Yeah. Fair enough. But oddly enough, I mean, this is what makes her so infuriating is that you look and you're like, you could be pretty, but instead you're doing this other thing, and not only doing this other thing, you have so much wealth and power. I guess you still get modeling gigs as this ugly other. Hey, look, it's like I'm growing out my arm hair and putting it in your face type deal, and she still gets modeling gigs because she's in like the elite. I think she's a model. I don't think I made that up. But
I think
didn't really
that's
do
how
my
I think.
homework on
I think
that.
she has done. So, I mean, she has enough glamour shots where it seems like some of this must be professional.
Right.
Like I've seen a ton of them. But it's like I mean I think that's how modeling kind of works.
You
Like
mean is
you're just rich and have influence and like you show up and like all you have
Also-
to do is be passable. They can make anybody hot. Like have you ever seen that? They did an article 50. It was like 50 porn stars with and without makeup, and the transition that some of these chicks that I had been jerking off to make in a makeup chair is
Right.
fucking crazy.
Well, it's some people being photogenic is kind of its own skill. And so I've met and hung out with some women who are absolutely beautiful in person but don't photograph particularly well. And then I've had other ones where you love nothing more than to show off the picture but don't look at them in person.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Yeah, there's something about the way a camera picks up an image, and
Yeah.
like some girls just have it. And like, yeah, I mean, I've fucking been with. It's like, yeah, you don't show anybody a picture of this girl. Like, but if she shows up, people are gonna be like, I want to fuck that lady.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So we've got Tim Walz's son was caught on camera crying up a storm. And so when I saw this at first, right away, I start making fun of it because I'm like, how weak is this kid that he's watching his dad and he's crying away? Then they come out later and they say he's mentally disabled. And I'm going to put out the call right now before I play this. You have to tell me tard or not. If you
Okay.
come out and you say, hey, this kid's retarded, we're not making fun of him.
Just
We're
give him
going-
just give him sticks like fucking the kid in Breaking Bad. Just have him walk out with the sticks, and then we know we can't
Or,
make fun
yeah,
of him.
we can give him some jelly beans and see how he reacts.
Just throw some toothpicks on the floor in front of him and see how quick he counts them.
Give him the jelly bean test. Okay, so we've got this kid
Who may or may not be retarded.
who may or may not be retarded, who's out there crying, looking like a bit of a retard. They gave him a bit of a retarded haircut. Seems like he can't talk. You go, my daddy's up there. He seems to be a little bit retarded.
Dude, Tard or Not is such a good bit because you know they have like some Instagram thoughts who are now fucking disabled like that.
Just give it to me straight. If you want to come out and say, hey, the kid's retarded, hands off, we're not going to make fun of him. But now they're doing this new thing where it's like, what neurodivergent, which includes having ADD. We all have fucking ADD. You don't get to play the, oh, you have to be nice to me, I'm neurodivergent card. We're all, if you break it down, what is neurodivergent? You think about information a little bit differently than other people. So then we're all, there's no, what is typical way of consuming information? So every single person that's dyslexic, has ADD, has an anxiety disorder, there's no one in the world that can't go to a shrink and be told, oh, he's neurodivergent. So all of a sudden everyone's off the table. I mean,
Dude,
talk about gay
I told you
weasel
about this.
tricks.
I told you about what I like glitched my psychiatrist a while back.
Okay.
Because I was like we were talking about medication, and I was like, let me ask you a question. How many people have come to you that you haven't given a prescription for something to? And it broke her brain for a second. And
Yeah,
it
'cause the
kind of
answer's
made
none.
me
That's her job. Go through the checklist, give this guy a medication,
And
then
she's
I've done
actually
my
good.
job.
She like listens and cares, and I think she
Right.
like I've been like evaluated by people where I'm like, oh, this was always getting to you making me be on Paxil so my dick doesn't work. I'm not doing it.
Right.
Like she actually does care, and I think she believes in what she's doing. But I don't think because if you're in a world, this is the thing about fucking the medical industry and any kind of academic field like this, where it's like high level. If you're in a field and you're surrounded by people in the field, you're in a feedback loop and you don't realize you're in a feedback loop because you're smart. You know what I mean? And you're surrounded by actual smart people who are educated and you do believe in these things and you think you're helping people. So you're in the same way social media is giving you a feedback loop. Your circle can give you a feedback loop. You know what I mean? If
Yes.
all you're talking to is psychiatrists who all think pharmacology is the answer to everyone's problems, you're going to be like, I'm doing good work.
Yeah, and it's and the credentialing of the system kind of reinforces it. Where you had to go to school, you had to get the degree, you got the licensing board is telling you you're doing the right job as long as you're doing these things, and you get paid for it. And like you said, you get to hang out with the other smart people that also think it's a good idea. Then you get people who are walking in like vegetables going, oh, what you gave me made me feel good. Can I have a little more? Yeah, I would like for you to feel even better. So, I
I went off antidepressants
Yeah.
because I lost a bottle of them and they wouldn't give me another one. And the like pharmacist was kind of like acting like I was a junkie. And I was like,
Right.
dude, I can get any fun drug
Right.
delivered to my house for a low price whenever I want.
Right.
I've got 70 kilos of kratom under this couch. I'm
There you
actually
go.
my couch is made of kratom. It's so cheap.
Yeah.
Thanks to yokratom.com, of course. But like, it's just whatever.
I
I'm
find
on
the
a tangent here.
scary. I find the scariest part with the pharmaceuticals is that, they'll tell you, hey, listen, before we can even evaluate if this is working or not working for you, you got to be on it for 2 weeks. And let me tell you, from a guy who's taken drugs, I know pretty instantly if it makes me feel good or not.
Mm-hmm.
If you're telling me that I have to take this for 2 weeks to have the full effect, it just sounds like you need me physically addicted before we can have a conversation about the next step.
Exactly. So it's like, but I had to go off of it just because, like I said, I lost a bottle. I think I left it in Texas or something when we were down there.
Right.
And I went through, and it was also something else had happened where I didn't have them for a while. And it was the second time I'm going through, it felt like I had the flu. Supposedly you're not supposed to get these kind of symptoms, but I did. And I felt like shit. And I told her, I was like, look, man, I'll keep coming to you for sleep aids, but I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing it. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's play the video of the coverage of the non-tard, which I'm just putting it out there.
All right. This is the photo you picked, Rob.
I'm
supposed to think this guy, first of all, he's doing the clap where the hands meet like prayer, and that always symbol is retarded. You have clap like this, where your hands are fucking perpendicular. If you're clapping and your hands are parallel, you are mentally challenged. I don't fucking care, Rob. You don't even have to play this video. This kid's retarded.
If you're doing the Donkey Kong clap.
Yeah, you are mentally handicapped.
Okay, so I just want to put it out there. I want to be a respectful person.
Okay.
So if this person's in fact retarded, don't tell me about how they're neurodivergent and have problems talking. Just tell me they're retarded, and then it's off limits.
Yeah, I want to know. I want to know what the neurodivergence is, because if they just have ADHD,
they said ADD. That's it.
Fuck you! I have ADD. Everybody has ADD.
Everyone has ADD.
We're all constantly looking at screens. It's ruined our brains.
Yeah, if you're telling me that you've got a 15 or 16-year-old who actually looks like he's got football build, he doesn't look like a little weakling, and he's got ADD, so he can only express himself by crying, I'm making fun of that.
Yeah,
you can't
100%.
take that one off the table. That's
100%.
ridiculous. All right, here we go. Let's play the coverage, and then we can react to the new segment, Tard or Not. Just tell us if they're retarded.
There as he listened to his dad speak last night. Our Sade Gray shows us how the teen is helping people understand his condition.
All right, let's talk back.
Yeah, last night this was one of the most talked about moments from the convention. The son of vice presidential nominee Tim Walz.
You could certainly see the emotion on his face there as he listened to his dad speak last night. Our Sade Gray shows us how the teen is helping people understand his condition.
Tearful cheers from 17-year-old Gus Walz as he watched his dad, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, address the convention. The 17-year-old yelled, "That's my dad," as he stood, tears streaming down his face and pointing to his dad. Walz calls his son's condition a secret power.
Sorry, I got to pause this here for 1 second. Look at his mom while she's clapping, and tell me that doesn't look like in Mars Attacks when they attach the dog to the face, or in the new, here, I can unmute you, or in the new,
she does have Sarah Jessica Parker in Mars Attacks vibes.
Yeah, or in the new Tim Burton movie where they got the queen with the oversized head. Just it might just be the camera angle. Talk about good and bad camera angles, but
all right, now I'm gonna show you a photo I just
look at
pulled
that.
up.
Tell me that doesn't look like CGI.
It does. She's weird.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Who's that chick? She's hot.
She's the one that helps.
Take a look at
retarded
this
people.
photo. Take a look at this photo. Does that not look like that kid?
Maybe.
That's fetal alcohol syndrome.
Oh, you think the kid has fetal alcohol syndrome?
I don't know. He's got a weird face.
Okay.
But also, look, you're 17 and you cheer for your dad. I'm really not. That might just be he got emotional. It has nothing to do with his neurodivergence or whatever. He's just a 17-year-old kid who's hyped that his dad, who was his football coach, is on stage in an arena getting his name. I would also lose my shit. Rob, the first time I saw fucking Skankfest, and people were there
Oh,
for Dave, who I was friends
right.
with for 25 years.
That's a good one.
I literally welled up.
Read, look at that.
Jesus Christ. Oh, shit. Yo, Dan looks like as a baby, he blew into his thumb instead of sucking it, and his head exploded like a cartoon character.
Okay. All right. I got one more segment that I need you here for. Oh, here. Did you see this video where it looked like the kid was about to walk? People are actually
He might be drunk. I mean, not for nothing. There's booze flowing at these things, and he's 17, and he might have just snuck like 6 champagnes without his mom looking.
Oh, that's possible. All right.
Yeah.
Well, they got the dad pulling him, and some people were saying like, "What's wrong with Tim Walz? He's got a problem." And it looks like he was about to, like a retarded person, just walk into the teleprompter. Did you see it?
Yeah. That was pretty funny. I don't think this kid. Look, first of all, ADD doesn't work like this. I've been told I have such severe like ADD that people think I'm autistic because I'm just always changing subjects and talking too much.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know.
All right. So on this next one, this is also we're in the category of terribleness, but you got Kelly, I think Mark Kelly, who they were saying could have been the VP pick. I think he's like an extreme war Democrat guy. I think he was also an astronaut. He's out in Arizona. His wife, I think, survived being shot at, I think is the incident. And they roll her out here to basically showcase how easy it is to read from a teleprompter.
Gotcha.
And then also, and this is terrible, but you know, sometimes you see men, for example, Wolverine, he stayed with his big fat wife. And they recently got divorced, but you're like, you know, you could do a little better. And in this case, you might be like, hey, you could do a little bit better now that she's all like mentally handicapped, but just wait till you hear her slurp.
Okay. I think they're all just drunk.
Black environment mode.
I think I don't know. I had the wrong spot on the video. All right. Last video that actually I got 2 more. I don't know if you got to cut out. I got 2 more, which is Kamala Harris finally speaking. And even here, you start to see a little bit of the cracks in the armor. And that at the beginning of the speech, she's got this awkward moment where she's trying to calm the crowd because they won't stop clapping. And she starts getting a little bit annoyed with them. I don't know if you saw the beginning of this. Did you catch this moment?
No, I did not.
Right,
Let's take a look.
Listen, it's not a bombshell, but you can see a little bit of her actual awkwardness and aggression here.
Well, this is also the thing that everybody's going to say is going to start coming out is that she treats her employees terribly. I keep hearing that.
Oh, yes. All right, here, let me.
Good evening. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all. Okay, we got to get to some business. We got to get to some business. Okay, thank you all. Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, please, thank you, please, thank you so very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Okay, let's get to business. Let's get to business. All right. So let me start by thanking.
Watched Veep. She has so much those vibes. It's so crazy.
All right, last clip that I want to play because I think that this just summarizes. I didn't watch her whole speech. I didn't care to.
Okay.
But to me, this just kind of summarizes the entire political process right now and how they have absolutely zero to say by way of solutions or policy. And so she's being praised for talking about the situation in the Middle East. And let's watch this 2-minute clip and we can break down Kamala Harris's policy proposal as here she's come up with how we can solve the problem in the Middle East. Let's give it a listen.
President Biden and I are working around the clock because now is the time to get a hostage deal and a ceasefire deal done. And let me be clear, I will always stand up for Israel's right to defend itself, and I will always ensure Israel has the ability to defend itself, because the people of Israel must never again face the horror that a terrorist organization called Hamas caused on October 7, including unspeakable sexual violence and the massacre of young people at a music festival. At the same time, what has happened in Gaza over the past 10 months is devastating. So many innocent lives lost. Desperate, hungry people fleeing for safety over and over again. The scale of suffering is heartbreaking. President Biden and I are working to end this war such that Israel is secure, the hostages are released, the suffering in Gaza ends, and the Palestinian people can realize their right to dignity, security, freedom, and self-determination.
Is we have to get it done because I said we have to get it done.
We're going to get it. We're going to just stop selling them weapons.
Well,
or giving them weapons.
Well, she said we have to continue to support Israel and make sure that they can protect themselves.
Yeah, which
but
is
at
guns.
the same time, the people of Palestine have a right. So what is your solution here? What are you actually proposing? Because it sounds to me like this is I propose that we eat the cake and that we also have cake. Because it's nice when you have cake on your plate, but it's also nice once you just eaten cake. And the whole room applauds.
Oh, yeah. Just refill the cake. I've already eaten cake, but I just want to look at cake. I get what you're saying, but, it's a funny thing. We were talking about earlier how much Jamaicans hate Indians. You know who really hates Indians? Muslims.
Interesting. All right. Okay.
I don't know how this is going to work.
That's interesting. You're saying her Indian heritage might force her to actually support Israel because she secretly hates Muslims?
I don't know. I know that Muslims do not like Indians, so it's going to make negotiation with her very difficult.
But what about Indians that identify as black?
I have been in a corner store.
Because blacks sometimes like Muslims. They go to jail and they become them.
Well, sometimes they just are them.
Fair enough.
All right, I got to go on that note. I got to get ready for work that I'm probably going to get fired from for this stream.
Plug your podcast once more.
Oh, yeah, go check out High Society Radio on YouTube and Gas Digital, and then make sure you check out Notes of a Goon on Spotify. We are Theater of the Mind, mostly audio with some clips on my social media, at Chris from BKLYN, Instagram and Twitter. Go follow that shit. Thanks, Rob.
Peace. All right, and I will take some comments here. First being, what's up with the wide taskbar, Robbie? Who does that? And the answer is, I'm not using TV monitor. I'm sorry, I'm using TV monitors. I'm not using computer monitors because I'm cheap, and they're easier for my purposes of mostly displaying things. And usually I put things into a PowerPoint presentation. Today I was lazy, and it saved me a lot of time to just line up the clips, but you don't get the clean framing, at least within StreamYard, of only seeing the clips. So the reason why you're seeing a wide bar, which I usually get rid of on the bottom, is because we're off of monitors. I hope, there you go, a little inside baseball talk. Muslims don't respect women either. I don't know. What are we going to say that across the entire board? Across the entire board? We're going to make blanket statements like that? Is that what we're about? All right, I'll take a couple more comments. Before we do, once again, thank you to sheathunderwear.com. Use promo code RYM, 20% off the greatest underwear that's ever graced the balls of man. And then, of course, this weekend, this Saturday, it's going to be the epic last time at Max's. Come out for my presentation about the Talmud. I hope it's funny. I hope it's not too dense. I hope there's some insights and jokes into the operation. And other than that, that's the episode. I'll take one more comment, and then courtesy of Fast Heart Mart, I've got outro music now. We're making this a more professional operation. But before we do, and I'll take one more. Kamala's whole policy platform is "We know everything is worse. Vote for us." All right, fair enough. That was our episode. Thank you for hanging out. Let's play some tunes and call it a show. Here we go.
There's so many problems that we all have to solve them. Everybody come together and find a way. We could blame the president and the corrupt government. We could blame a myriad of unpleasant things. But we're all the problem and we're all the solution. Everybody has a gift and part to play. 'Cause there's so many problems that we all have to solve them. Everybody come together and find a way. Yeah. 'Cause this life is a blessing and we better keep moving. We better enjoy ourselves each and every day. 'Cause there's always something trying to keep us struggling. But if we unify, we can break these chains. So many problems, let's all solve them. Everybody come together and find a way. I know I'm not innocent, I know I'm polluting. Every time I drive this car down a freeway. But I keep trying, and I keep recycling. Anything to save us from a doomsday. So many problems, let's all solve them. Everybody come together and find a way.